Okay, so I had a concern because after I get the timing done, I put the wrench on the crankshaft pulley bolt, and you want to turn it over to check the timing marks. I did that, but as I'm cranking it over, there was a lot of resistance, like a lot of resistance, like it was bound up, like I thought maybe there was a timing issue or something like that, like it was a tooth off. So I went back, checked the timing marks, everything is on. And it was kind of making a weird sound in the oil pan area. So I'm like, okay. So I take the oil pan off, make sure that everything in there is good. Everything in here sits in a fixed position. There's this tube, but it's bolted in. This baffle is bolted in. Everything in here is bolted in, so there's nothing that can rattle around in here. But I did run the camera up through the oil plug hole when it was on the car, so I can see inside here. And right through this hole sits this sump. And when I looked with the camera, the pan literally sits like, focus, like the bottom of the pan sits that close to this sucker. I mean, it's like right on the bottom of the pan, almost touching it, okay? My thought is that it's creating a lot of suction when I'm creating it by hand on the bottom of the pan right here, and making it resistant to, or harder to turn because of the suction. Because once I drop the pan back off, let me get this on here. Once I get the pan off, I can turn this thing freely all day long, no resistance, no noise. Oops. Sorry, I'm trying to reach kind of in an awkward position to do this. But you can see every single connecting rod. I mean, like, just turning freely. So, my only logical explanation is that this sump, when the pan is on here, the bottom of the pan almost touches it so they can pick up all the oil. You can't really see much of a gap. If there is, there's maybe a 1/16 of an inch. I'm thinking that this big bell horn is probably creating suction, and that's what's making it harder to push each time. Because there's nothing wrong here. I fully thought, oh crap, maybe it's a tooth off or something, you know, and I'm feeling some resistance. But there's no noise with the oil pan off. There's no resistance, no nothing. So it's all involved with the oil pan. Being that everything is bolted in place in the oil pan, the only variable would be this. Because it's night and day difference with the oil pan off, how easy this thing turns, and there's no sound. Just no different, I mean, like, no resistance whatsoever. None. No real noise even. It was making a noise out of the oil pan when I have the pan on. Maybe what I'll do is I'll put the pan back on and I'll show you the big, huge difference just between, and the pan only goes on one way. I mean, like, all the holes are pre-bolted, so you can't misalign the oil pan where it's touching something. It goes up and it's held in with like 29 bolts, so it sits in a fixed position. There's no, oh, maybe the oil pan's misaligned or anything. It sits where it sits. So I'll put the pan back on and show you what I mean.